Okay, welcome to this next online lecture on Unit 2, Lesson 3, Vowel Lengths. So to give you a bit of a reminder, this lecture is actually a bit of a continuation of the previous lecture because we're still talking about vowel symbols, but more specifically we're talking about vowel symbols that tend to extend vowel lengths, that tend to extend the duration of the sound of a vowel, right? So let's start off on a bit of a familiar kind of road. Now, we talked about these vowel symbols in the previous lecture, so let's kind of go through them and see what we understand. So we already said that the fatha is a symbol that's a little dash that's positioned above the letter, and remember the circle just represents the letter, the positioning of the letter. And the fatha makes the A it makes the sound. Okay, so remember, I will mainly go by letter A as the sound, but if it helps you, you can also make the sound, okay, that the fatha makes. Either or works. And then you have the kasra. So the kasra is positioned below the letter, and we said that that makes the double E sound, okay? And dhamma, we said the dhamma is positioned above the letter, and it makes that double O sound, which is that oo sound. The double fatha, now we're getting into repetitive nature. We have two fathas above. What sound will that make? That will make the un sound, right? As in fun. Double kasra, you have two kasras positioned below the letter, and that makes the English word in sound, okay? And then lastly, you have the double dhamma, which we talked about, that is positioned above the letter. It's like two dhammas together, and that makes the U-U-N sound, which is the un sound. So remember, the reason why I have two U's is because if I put one U, it's going to make an un sound, as in the double fatha. So two letter U's indicate the O sound, okay? So the un sound. So that should give you a bit of context there. So today we're actually going to be covering something much different, and that is the madda. Now I'll explain what the madda is, but there's three types of maddas that we'll cover based on letters. And in the next lecture we'll kind of cover more about what maddas actually are. Well, what the other maddas are. But let's start off with what a madda is. So a madda, it's also a vowel symbol, and that vowel symbol specifically extends or stretches out vowels for any Arabic word or letter, okay? So what has to happen is there is a bit of a relationship going on between letters and vowels. Usually you'll have the vowel symbol first, and then the letter that kind of finishes. So the vowel symbol kind of goes first. It makes a sound, and its corresponding letter, the letter after the vowel, makes a sound to kind of finish off the vowel symbol sound. So this will make much more sense in the next few slides, but that is just what you have to know about now. So you have to the only thing you need to know is that letters and vowels in this specific lecture are working together to make a stretching of the vowels, okay? And then you have the three types of maddas, or stretching of vowels, and that is the letter alif madda, and the letter ya madda, and the letter waw madda. Alright? So starting off with our first concept, which is the alif madda. Now the reason why we call it alif madda is, first of all, you have a letter alif in this equation here. So I'm going to start off with on the top left here. So you'll notice that the alif madda makes the double A sound or the UHH sound. If you go by UHH, that is totally fine, as long as as long as you're making the sound, and that is what the sound that the alif madda makes. So it makes an extended sound. So the bolded in red, this is just a note here. This letter H actually indicates a second UH. Okay, so you're having UH, indicating yourself saying two times, connecting both of them together to indicate a stretch in vowels. Okay, that's why it's a madda. So the basic sound, if you look at our equation to the right over here, in order to make the alif madda sound, you need the letters. So in the word, we're looking at the word here, the sound of the letter plus the fatha sound plus the sound of the letter alif. So these two components are bolded in red, and they are the most important of the equation because they contribute to making this double A sound or this double UH sound. So the sound of the fatha, we know that that makes the that makes the or the UH sound, right? I'm just going to put A for now. And the sound of the alif, that also makes the A sound. So putting these two together, the fatha and the alif, they both make an A sound, right? So that means we're going to have two letter A's, which corresponds to this over here, right? Same thing. If fatha makes a UH sound, then the alif is also going to make this UH sound. So you have UH, UH. Ah, right? So let's go on to this example over here. We have an example where we have a letter seen with a fatha over it, and then you have this stalk-like structure over here, which is actually an alif. It's actually a letter alif connected to the letter seen. But let's break up this word so we can find out what sound this overall entity makes, okay? So you have letter seen, and then you have a fatha. So again, this the circle, just the positioning of the letter, the fatha over here. And then you have an alif, okay? Letter alif, it just has a stick. So what sounds do these make? Letter Sin makes an S sound. The Fatha makes the A sound, as I'm just going to say for now. And the Alif also makes the A sound. Putting these English letters together is going to be Sa, right? It's going to be Sa. Now when I say Sa, I'm not saying Sa quickly. You want to say, extend that a bit, saying Sa. And in fact, to extend this, you want to, when saying Sa, when saying this here, you want to put two fingers up, or put two fingers up when saying the double A. So I'll indicate that by putting two dashes here, by writing two dashes. Sa. Okay, so see what I did over here? I put two dashes to indicate that, the length of that. So that is the alif madda. Now we're going to get to the letter ya madda, all right? And so the reason why it's called the letter ya madda is because this stretching of the vowel is involved with the letter ya, right? Is involved with this letter over here. So the sound of the letter ya madda makes the e sound, right? So that the same sound as the kasra, but except a bit different. You have a y at the end. Now I'll explain what this means in a bit. So let's look at our equation on the right here. In order to make this letter ya madda sound, we need the sound of the letter plus the kasra, and then plus the letter ya, okay? So we know the kasra makes the double E sound, right? And the letter ya, as a letter by itself, no symbols, no vowel symbols, makes the Y, letter Y consonant sound. So connecting double E and letter Y, that makes the E sound, right? So that explains this over here. Double E makes the for the kasra, and letter Y is the ya sound, is for the letter ya. So let's break down this example here and see what we can do. And I would also encourage you to pause the video and see what you can do to see what sound this Arabic word makes. So what you have here is a letter kha, okay, connected to a letter ya, and the letter kha has a kasra beneath it. So let's write that down. So letter kha looks something like that, as a capitalized letter. You add that to a kasra. Kasra is like this. And then you have a letter ya, okay? You have a letter ya over here. So what sound does the letter kha make? That makes the KH kh sound, right, from your throat. The kasra makes the double E sound. And the letter ya makes the Y sound, right? So let's put these English letters together to make the sound, the resulting sound in the equation. KH E E Y. So khi, right? Khi. And again, I'm putting two fingers up when I'm saying that, okay? So that is the ya, letter ya madda. Now let's get on to the last and final concept for this lecture, which is waw madda, the letter waw madda. So we already know that the letter waw looks like this, okay? And the sound of the waw madda makes this ooh sound, okay? So let's look at our equation. I'm going to explain what how this is broken up. This sound is broken up. So let's look at our equation over here. To make this wow madda sound, we need the letter, any letter, plus the sound of the dhamma, plus the sound of the letter wow. Okay, so we already know that the dhamma looks like this. And what sound does it make? It makes the double O or the oo sound, right? And the letter wow makes that consonant W sound, right? Because there's no vowel symbol on it, it's just a letter. It makes the W sound. So connecting double O and W is over here. The double O is meant for the Dhamma, and the letter wow is, and the W part of the sound is for the letter wow. Okay? So now let's break up this example. You have a letter Fa connected with a letter wow, and then you have a Dhamma on top of the letter Fa. Okay, so let's put this down. You have a letter Fa looks like that in the alphabet, and then you have a Dhamma over it. Okay, there's Dhamma, and then added to that is a wow, a letter wow. Okay, so now what we're going to have is, we're going to have this as a result in written form. But what sound does the letter Fa make? It makes the F sound, right? The Dhamma makes the U sound, and the letter wow makes the W sound. So putting these English letters together, you have F, O, O, W. It's going to make a foo sound, right? That makes sense. So that concludes this online lecture for today. To give a bit of a summary, next class, or next online lecture I should say, we're going to be talking about more maddas, so separate madda entities, and that also ties into some of the exceptions to some vowel symbols. But thank you for your attention and have a good weekend.